Greetings, friends and followers. This is Amir Katz sending you love and warm regards from Binyamina, my home here in the land of Israel, to you out there. And I want to remember, because we Jews have a very powerful relationship with remembering. Memory, yizkor, we remember our elders, we remember the leaving of Egypt. To remember is not just a suggestion. God commands us to remember the Sabbath. And today we are remembering something rather horrible. The pogrom, the putsch, the destruction of my people on October 7th will be a day of infamy that is burned into our memories. 40 days have passed since we were cut down on that fateful Shabbos when they took the lives of hundreds and they brutalized and kidnapped hundreds. And my enemies have re-emerged to attack us, but they have also reminded us of who we are. One of the wonderful, horrible dualities of being a Jew is that we remember horrible things in order to remember how wonderful life truly is. L'chaim, to life. This is the ethos of my nation, and we here in Israel today are alive. The lucky ones, the ones who have made it, the ones who have survived, the fighters who have not fallen. And over 40 fighters have fallen thus far in this fight for Gaza, for our survival, for our nation, so that we do not have to live with the beast in our belly. I have taken a few days to step away from the war, and I've had the opportunity to visit a friend, to remember to smile and celebrate, to visit Tel Aviv, and even with sirens and rockets falling on the city, I was able to have a drink, to laugh and smile, to visit a friend, to look upon my city that I love with a heart that is hurting, but is also a heart that is beating, full of life. I remember every single one of those victims and every single one of the kidnapped. And I remember every image and every face that I looked upon in the posters scattered across the city. I remember my elders, who I have lost, cut down by Nazi death camps and gas chambers. My family is very small because of what was taken from us, but we are here, breathing with a concentrated pulse of life that is rippling around Am Yisrael. Yesterday in Washington, 300,000 of us gathered together to sing L'chaim, to sing Tikva, hope, praise for the Jewish nation, and remember how wonderful it is to be alive. My enemies are strong, and they outnumber us 10 to 1. But here we are, holding it down in our little island nation in the Middle East, surrounded by some very challenging neighbors, to say the least, reminding the world that the Jewish people have a life force about us that cannot be extinguished by terrorism or by Hamasnik scum. My enemies cover their faces with the kafia because they are ashamed. I wish they were ashamed. Rather, they do it openly with a glee and with a smile and recording their atrocities with a source of pride. I weep for the sad sons of bitches who think that burning and killing babies is something to be proud of. Theirs is a weak ideology, and I celebrate our hundreds of Nobel scholars and thousands of students and hundreds of thousands of Hebrews and Shebrews across the land that work hard to create, to grow, to draw, to build, to paint, to celebrate, to dance, and all the awesome things that this nation produces with the tiny concentration of characters that is grouped together here. My nation of Israel is strong, and we will persevere. We've been here before. I remember where we were 78 years ago when they cut us down and gassed us. And we survived and made babies and grew once again into a great nation here in Israel. I remember, and I remind you, my guests, that we must not give in to the sorrow that envelopes us so often. That sorrow and that sadness is debilitating, and it will not let the life force ripple around the world the way it's supposed to. We are meant to be a light onto the other nations. I hope we can yet. My enemies must be smashed and reminded of how much of a force my boys and girls in fighting uniform can deliver. It's a necessary evil to destroy evil. And those caught in the crossfire, unfortunately, must suffer their place in the world. It's cruel and it's unfair. It's not nice, but that's life, and that's death, and that's war. We will lick our wounds and we will create new life. And my enemies will probably do the same thing, and that's the fateful game that we must play with one another as we dance and we fight and we confront each other, the forces of Israel and her enemies. There is evil out there that we confront, and there is evil within ourselves that we must also confront. The cousins, my Muslim cousins, have a concept of jihad, which was supposed to mean fighting the evil from within. But they have let that evil take over their personhood and their Palestinian pride, and it's been corrupted with cruelty and disdain for the other. Any nation that cannot live alongside another does not deserve its own nationhood. Until my Palestinian cousins can figure that out, they will have no nation of their own. Until they realize that the Jew has a place in this world, I remind them that we were here first, and we fought harder, and you chose war, and we beat you. And until you acknowledge and internalize that, you will have no justice for Palestine. The right of return is not a right that you get, it is one you deserve when you are willing to also compromise. My cousins, you must remember, we are the children who came together with our cousins Ishmael. Isaac and Ishmael came together to bury the father and bury the hatchet. Once upon a time when we buried our father in Hebron, Il Khalil, he is still buried there yet, in that building that we share, a mosque and a synagogue together, uncomfortably albeit, but we must share. The bloodshed is a painful reminder of what will be when we decide that we are not willing to compromise and diplomacy doesn't have enough dignity, and you chose to fight, and we will fight back harder because that's what we must do. And so I remind you with my voice and with my sword and with my spirit that speaks for Am Yisrael, we will defeat you. And you will know that force of my fight and my fire and my Lion of Judah as he roars right now as he is roaring in Gaza. It is painful, it is cruel, it is life and death, and you have a place in this game just as much as my nation does. But with a fist, you will be reminded of what happens when you lash out against those whose victory makes you compromise. Today I will celebrate the birth of my daughter on her 7th year and her birthday tonight, and we will say L'chaim, and we will raise glasses, and we will bring honor to a young lady who hopefully can be brought up into a world that allows her to thrive and grow and celebrate and dance and play the way children should in Gaza and here in Israel, both. Our children deserve better than what we've delivered to them. And so that Gaza may thrive and grow and my Palestinian cousins may have hope in their hearts with compromise on their lips, because otherwise they will have neither. I wish you well, my friends, my followers. Please share, please celebrate, please donate, because this is a war of goodness against the jihadi evil that has corrupted my cousins. And they must be defeated so that they can indeed replant the seed of peace, hopefully, in their hearts and in their leaders, and in the future together with the Jewish nation. Am Yisrael Chai, I wish you only well, my friends. L'chaim to life to you all. May you be safe wherever you are, and pray for my nation from afar. L'chaim.